Hello, and welcome to the Sam and Cat Show. Or is it the Cat and Sam Show? I don't know.
Oh,
We change it up all the time.
yeah, we're very, very equal, aren't we, my darling? We
We
share and
are.
share alike, and yeah, and, yes,
Don't think we. I think we don't have. Definitely know we don't have like, oh, we're better than everybody else kind of feel, because we're definitely not them,
no, no, we're here, warts and all, and it's lovely to see anybody
right?
that's watching, warts and all. Yeah, very non-judgmental, aren't we, darling?
Yeah.
And
So
ready to come into the autumn from the summer.
we are. We were kind of short. We weren't around for the summer,
No,
but we're here
we
now
are. We're back.
for the fall. And fall's all about letting go.
It is. It is
So,
letting go of ghosts, letting go of the past, whilst remembering it and holding it in its rightful place, wherever that may be.
right, I think, in rebirth, the autumn and winter is about going within ourselves and then bursting out again. And, as survivors, we know that uh, feeling of coming out and being out for a while and having that growth that's happened and that progress that's been made. I mean, could you have imagined yourself where you are now when you left?
Absolutely not.
Right?
Absolutely not. And it goes in stages. And I think, as I be the same for you, I think the other thing is about taking whatever the time you need. It goes in stages as well, because so much of it, I think, is building up your confidence again. And that's not going to happen overnight. I don't think the damage that's done suddenly becomes undone, and it may never be undone. But like with the autumn and that rebirth and that regrowth, the new stuff might be even stronger than what was before. So it's allowing yourself to breathe and go with your seasons, I suppose.
Yeah, I would definitely say that I feel like I'm a much different person than I was um, before I went in. And then after I came out of each different situation um, of abuse and what they entailed. So, I think when you're in those dark spots, you have to remember, you know, there's the old cliches, if we think about them, this too shall pass. Um, you get a clean slate every morning, start of a new day. Let today's day be done and be done with it, and start afresh in the morning. And I think, you know, we know that, if you're sad, that you won't be sad forever. Just sucks at the moment.
It does. And you have like the seasons that come every year, you have setbacks, or you go back to a stage as well, and that's okay, that's normal, that's usual. um I do like to think of things, me, Kat, liking to think of things in sort of imagery, and that barrenness of a very, very dry, very unwatered, unloved, uncared for scenario, and the damage that causes, the brittleness, there might be the odd dead root or two, you know, but it doesn't take an awful lot. One of the biggest things, I suppose, is your environment. So, if you're lucky enough to be able to get yourself and those you love into an environment where you can just breathe and start to water yourself and see what shoots come out. But progress progress can be made. I suppose it's about expectations as well, isn't it? Letting go of expectations of what you should be or what you should be doing, or what stage you should be at if you're lucky enough to escape. I think that was when I started to really move, was when I let go of the expectations of myself of what I should be post abuse, And if I have a bad day, I just say I'm having a bad day, you know.
It's interesting that you're bringing that up, because I've been talking about that on the Facebook page,
Okay.
on the war at home, and I'm working on the Guardians War Cry Facebook page too, to differentiate them from each other, along with bringing both of them onto what you and I are doing here and into our love project that you and I have worked with to try to bring into the community to drive up that awareness for DV. And the reason I packaged all of that together is because when I'm working on the war at home, I've done a few videos and a few posts about this fitting in. And fitting in, as defined by Brene Brown, is, are you fitting in? And I'm not going to say it verbatim. I probably could. Let me see here. But where I've been going with this on the page is to say that we don't as victims, targets of abuse, we learn that we need to fit into the narrative that the abuser is giving us in order to be safe and okay in that environment. And so if we use that word fitting in, we understand, because I think when you're in survival, you lose that cognitive skill of like, what's driving this, because it's abuse is so complex. Of there's trauma bonding, there's gaslighting, there's just so many thought processes to it, right, that hold on to you.
Yeah, and it's just survival. Nobody knows how they're actually going to react in a situation that is life threatening until they're in it. We can all say, oh, we'd do this, oh, we'd do that, oh, we'd do the other. Until you're in it, you actually don't know. And it's also dependent on the environment around you and on the situation at any given moment. So weirdly, yeah, we become hugely adaptable to fitting in at a moment's notice, whatever is needed or whatever, in order to stay alive or to stay, or for your children or your pets, or just to survive that moment in one piece with your sanity maybe vaguely intact. And I think that's the thing, is that it goes with the idea that there's a victim is a certain, or target is a certain type of person, or behaves in a certain way. There's something about us that's universal, when it's not anything really to do. We could literally be anybody, and is everything to do with the perpetrator. So I think it's a continuum of that idea that. And I think certainly for me, the biggest thing was learning it could be anybody, who would have to turn themselves inside out to fit in, to manage this situation as best they can. And I think that can obviously stay with you for quite some time afterwards, because these things take time to figure out.
Well, where I was going to go with that, I mean, I love what you're saying, but where I was going to go with that is that um, even if you're in it, if you can try to drive the, okay, am I trying to fit in here? And I have to go against myself. So we're not using that judgment to go against ourselves. So we can start to build that confidence of where do I belong? So Brene Brown's um, words are fitting in is about assessing a situation and becoming who you need to be accepted. Okay. Belonging belonging requires us to be who we are. And I think us being, you know where I'm going, because for us being survivors or targets, we're just trying to fit in. We're just trying to not we're trying to get through the day, not get hurt today, make sure our kids are taken care of. And, and then when you realize what you're in, you trying to figure out the complexities of what is really going on with that situation. Because some people have to stay in these situations or they're going to be homeless, and so homeless that they don't have the um, ability to be able to build differently. And if you can just start to drive that, okay, am I fitting in here or do I belong here? Then you can start networking who you belong to. Like I I can fit in here and wear different clothes and give a different um, feel for who I am, depending on the situation. You know, if you're going into a professional situation, you might dress differently, right? Or I can just dress down and be this person. I'm still going to be cognitive of who I am, that I'm not trying to fit in someplace that I don't belong. If I was having difficulty and I needed an ear, I would just have to pick up the phone and call Sam and say, Sammy's day has been like shit, and this is what's going on. And she would give me an ear and a lot of love. And that's about belonging, is that she's accepting me right where I'm at. Fitting in is about having to look at your situation and figure out, do I belong here or am I fitting in? But always making sure you belong to yourself and that you're not, we need to have compassion for the self, even if you're in that situation. We need to have compassion for ourselves, even if we're out of that situation. And Sam and I have a tremendous amount of compassion for anybody that's in all three of those different arenas, because that's our community.
Absolutely. And that's there is a sense of belonging there as well. And it's quite strange because it's a belonging that you don't want to have, really, because and it's a belonging that you hope nobody else does belong to because of what it is that brings you to it. Yet at the same time, it's a community that is full of the most extraordinary, phenomenal people, and predominantly women, but not exclusive to by any means. Um, so it's that in itself is quite a strange thing to get your head around. It's like, this incredible community who are all in their ways, whatever way they can, however they can, whether it's silently or joining with others, driving so that this doesn't happen to anybody else and nobody else gets to join our community. It sounds very selfish, but actually it's not. Um, you know, it's yeah, it's an extraordinary place to be when you start making progress and you start remembering sort of who you used to be, which can be painful, but at the same time, it's like, well, who am I now? It's remembering that autonomy, remembering that sensation that you get where, fitting in would be a choice and it wouldn't do you any harm. I think that's the thing as well, is fitting in actually causing you harm. I'm like you, I could wear a suit and go into a corporate building and fit in for that particular time, and quite possibly have to fit in for that particular time, in order to achieve mutually whatever it is we're trying to achieve. But that's not going to do me any harm. And I think that's the key, is when fitting in, whatever group you're trying to fit into, actually does you physical, psychological, emotional, financial, whatever harm or damage, then that's when you have to start realizing. I think that's an area where people, if there's somebody who's not sure what they're in, are they fitting in, are they belonging, they're not quite sure of the difference between the two, that's where I'd say the demarcation is. If you're going against your own natural feelings, if it's causing you discomfort, there's something to take notice of before it gets any
Well,
worse.
yeah, and it's like, it's like the subtleties, like, of abuse, where they don't like, I don't know, they don't like when I sing,
Hmm.
and so you just don't sing around them. And while that may seem small, you know, it's something that you're giving up that's you.
Yeah.
And
I
so
do
you
have
need
to
to look
say
at those.
So my child, even as a little baby, literally whenever I sang to him, he would cry his eyes out. Now he wasn't an abuser. That is just, unfortunately, my singing was not a balm to his soul. So, sometimes it can just be like, it's just not a good
Right,
thing.
but at the
So I
same
just had to tell
time,
you that.
that's
But yes,
hilarious.
you're right. You are right. Now, I sing at the top of my voice, but on my own and not in earshot of him, for the simple fact that, much as he loves me, he doesn't like my singing.
But that's funny because, I mean, that's about fitting in, sure, but you're not going against yourself to fit in. Where it's about this mutual respect, and mutual respect, you know, is about not wanting to harm other people with your crackly voice, um, and realizing that it isn't about you going against yourself. It's about respecting another person. And I think that's where that minute um, manipulation is, that can get really confusing on, am I going against myself? And that's about that, like, you were talking about that fitting in. Yeah, I can go and do this for, um, 2 or 3 hours, and it's not going to bother me a bit. Um, if I'm doing the same thing every day, I may not like, right? So then am I fitting in, or am I belonging? And you always want to belong to yourself and understand who you are, so that you can bring that person forward You accepted the fact that you can't sing to your baby. And you were okay with it.
Yeah, totally.
You
And
know?
I think that's a little indicative as
That's
well. So,
hilarious.
and it's the fact that I did stop doing it. He really did not like it. And I'm talking about being a newborn. So, it was just a complete sort of
That's so
automatic
funny.
response. It wasn't something you thought about. Um, but,
You know what's really making me laugh about that?
what?
Is that there's like these YouTube videos and stuff that are out there that like the girl's like singing to her baby and her baby's like got these tears developing in their eyes. I'm just seeing yours going
Ah!
recoiling.
No, it's like screaming like, "Mom, stop!"
Right?
I mean, literally, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe that's that's not my thing. But
Right?
what's interesting was I did it because I felt it was something that I should do as a new mum, is to sing to my baby. So sort of like learning that it didn't work for him and it didn't work for me. That's just what you do, isn't it?
I love it. This is your honesty just kills me, which is what I love about you. So um
And me, you. So
you
no, I'm
know,
not going to sing to you. Don't worry.
oh please, I want to hear you sing.
Honestly,
Sing us out, Sam. Sing
no,
us out.
no, no. I'm not. No, no. I'll just say, see you all
Uh,
soon, and
and
yeah,
on that
we're
and on
all
that
making
note,
progress. How on that note, absolutely. Whatever
uh,
progress you're making, it's your progress, and you're doing fantastically.
and if you're a survivor or a target, or you just want to learn, you belong here. You belong to listening with us if you want.
Oh,
Take care. Have a great day.
bye bye.
See you soon.
See you soon.